Cool.
There we go. Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good. Yourself?
Yeah, good. Good. You've got some exciting news, haven't you,
I
for
have.
everybody?
I got accepted to university. Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna be a student.
Oh, she's already
Yeah.
said she's going to get spectacles on a chain.
Well, I had my eyes tested and I do need reading glasses. And so yeah, I've decided I'm gonna get one of those really funky thick chains and just play the whole student part, really.
I mean, why not? You've got to, haven't you?
I
You're
mean,
going to be a
yeah.
student. You may as well do it properly.
I'll be doing it with very 80s vibes.
Of course. Can't imagine anything else, Julia, to be honest.
But yeah, so that's going to be really fun. Criminology and psychology, so I can get into some people's heads. Yeah.
Yeah. And it means a big house move as well. So
Yep, and
be
I'm
speaking in a
moving.
Yorkshire accent next time.
I will. Yeah. Yeah, I'm moving next early next month up to Yorkshire, which is going to be completely different. So yeah, exciting things are happening. Very hectic because it's happening quite quickly. But yeah,
Oh,
it's
brilliant though.
cool.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And what about you? What about you've had friends visiting and
Yeah, been really busy. And then I've got yeah, had as I mentioned last time, a friend over from Finland and we met up with some other friends as well, Sophie and Jodie. So that was really lovely, actually. We all went to lunch and then we all went to a pottery class,
nice.
which was only an hour, but it was really good fun. Except for Ilona, who had like really long and perfectly manicured nails,
Oh,
which is obviously when you're trying to make a bowl, stick
oh my
thumbs
God.
in the clay. Yeah, that was quite
Amusing.
amusing. Bless her. No, but
And
it's
what
nice. And I'm going into work tomorrow, actually, to
are you?
yeah, so that'll be the first time I've been there to talk about maybe a kind of phased return to work, which is yeah, quite a lot to think about, basically. Let's
Yeah,
put it like that.
definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. That's massive.
Yeah, I'm a bit scared about going in as well because I haven't seen anybody really for ages, like since I've met up with friends and stuff, obviously, but yeah, haven't been back in, haven't really seen many people at all. So yeah, I'm now a it's the hair thing, isn't it? That's like my major
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, because
concern. Just
people even get weird when they've just had a trim and they go into work and you know what I mean? So I get it. It must be like hugely daunting because
exactly.
and people don't know what to say and then you're like you feel awkward for them and you know what I mean? And it's I can imagine anyway. That's what I imagine.
Yeah. Yeah. And like, although most people know, and the people that I work really closely with know, there'll be plenty of others who don't, who I might bump into. And but I mean, everybody I work with is lovely. So it will
Yeah.
be nice to see them, just a little bit daunting, that's all.
But once you get there and you see everybody, that will be gone. Do you know what I mean? All that
mm,
anxiety
yeah.
would have gone and it'd probably be really nice to see everyone.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, it's just taking that first step, isn't it? It's a bit like,
Yeah,
ooh.
of course. Yeah,
But yeah,
definitely.
I'll let you know next time how that
Y-
goes.
Yeah. Fill everyone in.
Yeah, exactly. We'll be waiting on tenterhooks, I can imagine.
Why keep things private? Let's just put it all on this podcast.
Exactly. Well, it is called oversharing, so
Exactly. That's why I brought up my purple poo last time we spoke.
Oh my God, I was reflecting on that one actually. Just like that's such a you thing to say though, but
Yeah. With
can't be
hindsight.
yourself. Why
Yeah,
not?
yeah. Right, well, go on. You were gonna today we were gonna talk about chemotherapy?
Yeah, I think, yeah. So last time it was all about the recovery from the surgery. And I think I got up to, as we said last time, forget what we spoke about and haven't kind of listened back at it. But I think I got to the point where I'd met the oncologist for the first time. So I met with him and he was really lovely. And Chris came with me, which was great. And there was a nurse there from the oncology team as well. Um, and he basically told me what the plan was, and I had to sign some paperwork just to say, yeah, you can put all those chemicals in me, that's fine. So the two drugs that he suggested that I have, which I think is actually really common for ovarian cancer and breast cancer, is a combination of a drug called paclitaxel and a drug called carboplatin. So you take them both and they have to be infused, so it's all intravenous. And the plan was that I have that every 3 weeks and I have it 6 times. So it was going to take, I started in November and my last treatment was due to be 20th of February. So yeah, so I had that meeting with him and agreed, yeah, let's go for it. And then I had to meet with the oncology nurses so that they could just run tests, do blood tests. I said last time, didn't I, about the kidney function thing that I had to do.
Yeah.
So that was all part of it. I had to have I had to have the blood test and they check your veins to sort of see how they'll stand up to the chemo. And they were just like, yeah, we can't really get chemo in those veins. They found one that was like on the kind of, like the heel of your thumb. It was just above that. And they were like, oh, we could probably get one in there. I was like, fuck off. I don't want it to go in there. Can you imagine how horrible that would be?
Do you mean like in there, like that part?
Yeah, sorry, yeah, I forgot. Yeah, it's sort of like there. No, yes, a bit further down.
Oh,
Like, I know, I just like, no thanks. Um, so they said, but we'd only get one treatment in there anyway, so it's that's not really doable. The treatment itself is about 6 hours. So it's quite a lot to take,
yeah.
especially for a weak vein. So they came to the conclusion that I'd have a porta cath put in. So yeah, that was like another minor operation. But all those decisions were made. And then it was like,
Do you
okay,
want
we'll get
to
into,
do you want to kind of are you going to explain what one
yeah,
of those
sorry,
are?
yeah, like I'll explain what the port thing is in a sec.
All right,
Um,
sorry.
just I'm just thinking about the timing of it. So I had that
Okay.
meeting, didn't have the port put in at that stage, but had agreed that like that would be best
Right,
because
okay, got you.
um basically what it means is you're not constantly looking to put cannulas in, because otherwise I'd have to like put a cannula in to a vein that's going to be really hard to find each time. And obviously we know what happened with my the morphine one the last time when I was in hospital. So yeah, so we decided on the port. It goes in your chest basically, and it's just a disc that sits underneath your skin, and then a kind of a tube goes from the port, which is here, up to your neck, and then down, and it goes into a main artery, basically going sort of straight into your heart. Which, like, I know it sounds really awful, and you think that
I try not to have any reactions because I feel so
anyone who's just
bad that you've
listening to this needs to go and watch just to see Julia's face when I describe.
no. I didn't realize I was doing it till I caught myself like in the thing there. But I feel so guilty that you're having all this stuff, and but it does bring that reaction. Yeah, it's
Yeah, no, I mean,
intense.
it's awful to, and I just choose not to think about it, basically.
Yeah,
All like for me, it's like the better of the options because it means that every time it needs to be used, they don't have to
prod
find a
you.
vein. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. So I'm happy with that.
yeah,
Um, and they do access it with a needle, like just goes through your skin and then into that the disc thing. So yeah, I'm a wimp. So they
you're
have
not.
to. I am.
No, but you're not, if you know what I mean, because you've been through so
I don't.
much.
I know, but
Oh,
yeah.
but I
So
get you. Yeah, I hate needles too. Like,
yeah, they're horrible things. I mean,
yeah,
we should all be born with a port. That's what I think. And
yeah,
then they could just access it and that would be fine. We can just, yeah, we wouldn't have to worry anymore, would we? But anyway, we decided that that's the route we'll go down. So they said they'll ring me and let me know like when they're going to be able to start the chemo. Um, so they were like, yeah, we can do it on the 7th of November. So I was like, okay. I had a big long conversation with the oncologist and he kind of talked me through how I'm going to feel. And he was like, right, so if you have the chemo on the Thursday, which I was, he was like, on the Friday night, take some paracetamol because on the Saturday, you're very likely to wake up feeling like you've run a marathon without doing any training. I'm like, okay, that sounds pretty grim. And it was basically exactly what happened. Just woke up on that Saturday. Firstly, on the Friday, I felt absolutely fine. I think the amount of steroids that I'd had, um, just yeah, I think they kind of mask everything.
yeah,
But then you wake up and it's mainly like ankles, knees, and hips. And this was the kind of process each time. So each time I had it, this was what would happen. And it got progressively worse as the treatment went on, and I would just feel exhausted. And I still do now, basically, really tired, very achy. When I walk up the stairs, it's just takes me ages, just like an old, weak person. Um, but yeah, I suppose so. Going back to that first treatment, that was a long day because I had to go in, I had to have like that minor operation. So they do it all on the same day. So I had the port put in. So just make a cut in your chest and they put it in and thread the tube through. And this is all under local anaesthetic. So again, I was like clinging on. I'd held on to the nurse's hand and
oh,
basically didn't let her go for the whole time. So she was completely redundant and couldn't help to do anything because I was just clinging onto her hand. And I kept saying, my arm's really shaking. My arm's really shaking. And he said it wasn't. But that's all I'd
oh,
said for the whole time. And then obviously you're still a little bit kind of delirious. You get wheeled into another recovery room. So I did that, and then they put me in a wheelchair, I think, and took me back up to where I'd have the treatment. And then I'm just like sat on a bed, and I had to have a steroid infusion, um, a antihistamine, so that you don't hopefully react to the drugs, and then they put the paclitaxel through, so that infuses for like 3 hours. So they started it off, and the nurse stayed in there, and we're chatting away for 5 minutes. And all of a sudden, I was like, "Oh, I feel really hot." And she was like, "Yeah, you've gone really red," and like press this button, and all these alarms went off, and about two doctors come running in, and they just like shut off all the machines really quickly. Chris was there. He was like, "Oh my god, you'd gone like beetroot red," and I'd reacted to the drug. basically. So they had to stop it all. They had to run through another antihistamine and another steroid, which took then extra time. Then they put the paclitaxel back through, and I didn't react to it this time. So that was great, because otherwise I wouldn't have been able to have it as a drug. So they did that. Then they put the carboplatin through, which takes about 45 minutes. And then it's kind of over and I'm done. And they take the needle out and then I can go home. But obviously I had this scar from the having the port put in. So that was the first time. And what that meant was then going forward, I had to go in for my pre-bloods, because you have to have blood tests each time to make sure that your blood's all right and your body can cope with the treatment. So I had to then have that 2 days before the chemo each time, and I would have to take pre-medication. So I had to take 10 steroid tablets, an antihistamine, and like another stomach settling pill
Wow.
the day before treatment each time. So yeah, that was just kind of adding to it, and yeah, adding to the amount of chemicals again, and just medication generally rattling around inside me.
It's
Um,
wild, isn't it?
yeah, but I did do that every time. And then there were, like I say, the kind of side effects get gradually kind of worse. One of the main side effects as well, which I have, is just called neuropathy. So in my fingers and my toes, they sort of tingle, but the bottoms of my toes now are kind of completely numb. So hopefully that will start to come back, but it's a
Yeah.
really like weird side effect to have. Like it's really difficult to, if you try to write and things like that, or like doing up a necklace, something just simple like
Yeah,
that,
wow.
is really hard, because you sort of can't feel everything properly.
So
So
bizarre, isn't it? I
I
remember you saying at
know,
Christmas, like, oh, my fingertips are all tingly, and
mm,
you got me to do a couple of things in the like, open packets or something. And I
that's
remember
it.
thinking, like, what a bizarre side
Yeah,
effect.
yeah.
But
It's so weird, isn't it?
yeah,
And like, and my balance as well. And I think that's partly to do with having this like numbness in my feet. But I think it's just part of, just side effects in general, is dizziness. So I'll like get up and sort of spin out, or even if I'm like turn my head to the side in bed or whatever, I'll just like the room
oh,
starts spinning, like if you're really pissed or something.
wow.
Um, yeah, so that's another fun side effect. And then I did have, just thinking back to kind of any differences from, the norm of going through the chemo, was I had felt like my leg was a bit tight. Like I was sort of crouched down to get some washing out of the machine, which Chris will go, oh yeah, whatever, you must have done that twice in the whole time we've been together for like 20 years. But I was honestly getting washing out of the machine. Um, and like, yeah, my leg just felt a bit tight. So I'd said that to them when I'd gone in for my chemo, and they were like, oh, no, we better get you checked for a blood clot. So
Oof.
I had to wait. Mum and dad were with me actually that time. And so we waited like hours and hours to go down and have this like ultrasound check to see if I had a blood clot in my leg, which I didn't. But by that time, it was too late to have the chemo. So that then pushed it back, basically. Um, so yeah, that then meant that I wasn't gonna finish my treatment when I thought I would, which was a bit of a shame, but not the end of the world. And then I also got an infection. Um,
Yeah.
which was more recent. So this was the fifth out of the six chemo treatment sessions. And I wasn't due to have treatment. I'd had it on the Monday. And then on that weekend following, I started to feel like I was getting a cold. And then
Yeah.
it just hit me like I've never had a cold come on that quickly before. So I rang up, like my temperature was high. So I rang up the hospital and they said, oh, yeah, you better come in and we'll check you over. And they took some blood and they said, there's like, there's an infection marker that should be around sort of 5 or something. And mine was like 300 and something. So they were like, yeah, it's too high. You've got an infection somewhere, and we're not quite sure where it is yet. But they then had to do loads of tests. So I did have to have a blood test from my arm as well as from my port. Had to have an X-ray. Doctors checking my chest and everything because I had a cough. And then I had to stay in for 3 nights, which was like completely unexpected, but
Yeah.
it was fine. I'd had to have intravenous antibiotics until those markers came down. But they were just everyone in there, all the nurses, like everyone is so lovely
Yeah.
that they properly looked after me, and like they'd hand over to the night staff as well. So my 10 p.m. Antibiotic infusion, one of the nurses come in and he was like, oh, I'll just wait because there's only 5 minutes left of your treatment. So I'll just wait in here. And we were watching. It's so bizarre. I don't know why I was watching this. It was like Nottingham Forest versus Everton or something, a penalty shootout. So I ended up watching that with him, with John, the
Oh,
nurse in charge. I know. So it was absolutely fine. And then it didn't even delay my chemo, so it was fine. But I think I felt kind of started to feel all right in myself, and I didn't want to just stay in bed because you don't move.
yeah.
So I was like wandering around the hospital.
Here she comes
Yeah,
again.
I know. They're like, hello. Just like, oh, hello. Just I hadn't been in this direction before, so I thought I'd have a little walk down, see what's going on, and then I'd go off to the oncology department. They're like, oh, hi, Ella. Hi. I know you're busy, but I thought I'd just pop down and say hello. And I'd like sit and have a cup of tea. I think they're like, well, you just piss off. You're so annoying. We're trying to do stuff and you're talking to us about
Oh.
like to what to watch on Netflix. Oh God.
Oh, yeah, but I think that is what has been so with you. You've just got that you want to keep getting up and keep going and keep, like I think that's why, even though you clearly have not felt okay all this time and it's been a lot on your system, but you've got that. There's just sometimes when I'm hanging out with you or talking to you, I forget everything that you're going through because you've just got this. Right. Well, anyway, I'm fine kind of
Well, that's I forget
attitude.
as well. That's
Right. And
then I'm
I
like, oh,
sometimes I feel so bad because then I'm like, oh my fucking God, like I've completely forgot. Like, you know, so
I
I
don't
think
know.
it's your attitude, like you just saying that is not everybody's like that. Oh, I didn't want to stay in bed and just lay there. Like, some people do tend to do that.
Yeah, I suppose. And it, I mean, don't get me wrong, there are absolutely times where I'm like, I don't want to get up or I can't, I just want to lay on the sofa and watch some crap on TV, Bargain Hunt. I've seen all of them, I think. And there's like 60 series of Bargain Hunt. So I might not go back to work. I might just become an antique dealer, like Lovejoy.
Oh,
But no,
please
I
do.
no, yeah, I'm quite up for it. Yeah, I know. Like honestly, I do forget as well, and I forget that I can't do what I could do before, and like hopefully I will again, and I'll hopefully build up my strength
Yeah.
Um, yeah, but it's kind of difficult when just walking around town, which I did in the week, and I like, oh guys, can you sort of slow down a bit because I'm really slow, like my feet really ache. But then I haven't done anything, like I've not been able to really do any exercise or anything like that. So I'm hoping to go swimming. I think that'll be really nice.
Yeah, that will be.
Just a bit of floating. I love a bit of
Yeah.
floating.
Just
I don't know how that's going to build up my
you
strength.
could just float over and say hi to people like what you did in hospital. Just float over.
No.
Hi.
They'll all be trying to do their like clockwise lanes in the pool, and I'll just be floating along. I'm very good at floating, actually.
I
So
think floating must actually be really good for core.
yeah, it's underrated. Mm. Oh my God. But no,
Oh,
that it probably doesn't sum up chemo because it's
what
been a
about
long process. And yeah, oh, I suppose the most major thing, which I will talk about, I think, on a separate podcast because
okay.
there's a lot to it,
Yeah.
is hair loss, um,
Right.
which is, it's the first thing you think of. The first thing I thought of when I was told you're going to have chemotherapy. That was almost worse for me than having to have the surgery because I know what that means. I know that it means your hair falls out. I know that it means that you look like a cancer patient.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and I did try the cold cap actually. So that was another thing that I did on that first time.
Okay.
Um, so the cold cap can sort of prevent you from losing your hair or from losing so much hair. Um, and they say, it doesn't always work, but give it a go. But it is quite painful because it is so cold. So I tried it for a grand total of about 15 minutes, during
Yeah.
which I couldn't even speak. I think, had this like fixed grimace on my face and was just staring into like the middle distance, going, "Oh, I can't do it." I was like, "No, take it off, take it off.
Yeah.
I can't handle that." No, so and I knew what that meant. And I thought my hair's like, I'm not one of those people that has sort of statement hair. It's just a bit rubbish anyway.
No,
Um,
it's not.
with like cow's licks and stuff. So yeah, it obviously it did fall out, and yeah, sort of
But you want
had
we
to
can
deal
talk
with it
about
at the
that
time.
on another.
I
Yeah.
think it would be worth
Yeah.
probably taking a bit more time to talk about it, just
Yeah.
because yeah, like, getting a wig, getting bloody turban things that are just as the same as walking around with a bald head, to be honest, because everybody knows that you haven't got any hair.
But you
Um,
do rock it. Like you really do.
well, I don't know about that.
But I
I
can't,
can't,
yeah. That doesn't make you feel any better. But yeah.
no, but I don't have like a majorly weird shaped head, which was quite a relief. And well, one of my main concerns was that I'd look like my brother.
Oh my God. Yeah, no, you don't. You
That's what
don't.
people have said. So yeah, that was quite a relief to know that as well. Oh, but yeah, we'll definitely talk about it on another one,
Yeah.
at another
Okay.
time. But yeah, well, and if anyone's got any questions about chemo that I probably have completely failed to cover, then just let us know on the Instagram thing, or there was a comment actually on one of the Spotify
Oh.
posts as well.
Oh, so you can comment
So
on Spotify.
yeah, I switched it on, I think, so
Ah, I
you
didn't
can.
see.
Yes. So
Oh, I'm gonna
yeah, have a look. Um, but yes, we'll I don't know what the next one will be about, but
pod along soon.
pod along soon. It'll probably be about hair loss. Let's do it about hair loss next time.
Yeah, let's do about hair loss. And then I think as well, talking about for another episode, be talking about telling everybody, I think is another
Yeah.
whopper.
Yes. Yeah, yeah. Other people's reaction is quite a big thing, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, not that it was bad, but
No, but I
definitely
just
worth
think,
talking about.
yeah. All
Okay.
right. Should we call it a wrap?
Oh, let's. Love it.
All right.
Oh,
Okay,
okay.
well, we'll do it again next week. I'm thinking.
Yeah, yeah. Let's do it
Yeah.
next week
Brilliant.
at
All
some
right.
point. And
Okay.
thanks for listening, if anyone's listening.
Yeah, thanks for listening and all the support. All right then. Okay,
All
we'll
right.
talk to you soon.
Yeah. See ya.
Bye.
Bye.